Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, where sunlight cannot reach, lies a cold, dark world filled with danger. Raging waves crash and powerful currents swirl, strong enough to sweep away any fragile creature. Nature shows no mercy. It forces every species to fight for survival every single second. In the heart of this harsh world lives a small creature with astonishing determination, the Pacific salmon. Each year, millions of salmon embark on a journey unlike any other. They leave the ocean, swimming upstream to the very place where they were born. It is a journey stretching hundreds, even thousands of kilometers, fraught with peril, roaring rapids, swift currents, predators, hunger, and exhaustion. They do not return in search of life. They return to reproduce, then die. It is a final journey, a fateful voyage programmed into them from the moment they hatch. The migration of salmon is not merely a survival instinct. It is one of nature's most brutal and awe-inspiring stories. Upstream across the Pacific, the spectacular migration journey of millions of salmon. Before reaching the ocean, salmon begin their lives in small streams, cold, clear, and deep, nestled within the forest. There they hide beneath layers of gravel, shielded from strong currents, thriving on abundant oxygen and the protection of a quiet environment. They are still small, unable to swim far, not yet strong enough to face greater challenges. But it is here that young salmon begin to learn how to balance in the water, how to read the direction of the current, how to react to changes around them. These basic skills will form the foundation for their future migration. At a certain point, once their bodies have grown strong enough, the stream is no longer a suitable place to stay. The salmon begin to leave, carried by the flow. For the first time, they depart from their familiar home, drifting into larger rivers and eventually into the vast ocean. Life in the ocean awaits, and a new chapter has just begun. The sea offers more than food, it teems with danger. When young salmon first venture into open waters, they become easy prey for countless predators. From the depths, mackerel, tuna, and sharks are always lurking. These predators strike with speed and razor-sharp teeth. From above, seabirds, like gulls and terns, dive like arrows the moment they spot the glint of salmon flashing beneath the surface. To survive, salmon learn to swim in schools. The more fish there are, the harder it is for predators to single one out. At the slightest sign of danger, the entire school shifts direction, creating rippling waves of movement that confuse their attackers. They also learn to use light and watercolor to their advantage. Their dark backs blend in with the sea when viewed from above, while their silvery bellies reflect sunlight, helping them disappear when seen from below. By day, the school swims deeper to avoid a bird's gaze. At night, they rise closer to the surface to feed, using the cover of darkness as protection. Not all of them survive, but day by day, through every chase and narrow escape, the salmon grow faster, stronger, more alert. The ones that endure are not always the strongest, but the ones who observe best and react the fastest. Early morning. The sea is cold and still. Beneath the surface, a school of salmon is swimming. Hundreds of them move closely together, keeping tight formation for safety. Suddenly, a shark bursts upward from the deep. It moves fast, almost silently. The shark targets fish in the center of the school, where the strike is easiest. The salmon react instantly. The entire school veers sharply to the right in unison. They don't scatter chaotically, but shift in small, synchronized clusters, like a swirling cloud. This tactic makes it harder for the shark to focus on a single fish. The shark charges into the heart of the school, but misses its mark. It turns back, preparing for a second attack, but the school of salmon has already shifted course, slipping into darker waters near the ocean floor. Some hide behind clumps of seaweed, others dive deeper than usual to avoid being seen. After about 30 seconds of chasing, the shark gives up. It sinks back into the deep, abandoning the hunt. The salmon have survived, but not all of them. A few silver scales drift in the water, signs that some were injured or taken. The rest quickly regroup and continue their journey. Afternoon. The water grows colder. The salmon are now swimming through the mid-layers of the sea near rocky coastal shelves. They slow down to forage for food. From the edge of the reef, a seal emerges. It doesn't charge right away. Instead, it watches from a distance, only its head and gleaming black eyes visible beneath the surface. Then it dives, circling silently beneath the school. No splash, no trail of bubbles. Once close enough, it bursts upward from below, aiming straight for the rear of the salmon school, where the slower swimmers tend to fall behind. The salmon react too late. Some veer left, others dive downward. But one salmon doesn't make it. The seal catches it. Blood drifts faintly through the water. The rest of the school immediately speeds up, fleeing the area, changing direction. The seal doesn't follow. It drags its prey back toward the rocky reef and vanishes. The entire scene lasts less than a minute, but to the salmon, it's a lesson. Being near shore is not always safe. The danger isn't over yet. The next afternoon, the school of salmon swims near the surface to hunt for food. They don't notice the dark shadow gliding across the waves. A tern dives at incredible speed. Its wings fold back, and its sharp beak points straight toward the water. The bird hits the surface, misses, then quickly rises again. But just seconds later, another bird dives, then another. The seabirds take turns attacking, waiting for the salmon to make a mistake. The salmon decide to dive deep, leaving the sunlit layer behind. Below, they are safer, but the visibility is poor and food is scarce. They will only rise again when the surface is quiet, free of wing beats. After days of constant swimming and predator evasion, the salmon finally pause in a calmer stretch of ocean, where the water is deep, cold, and the currents are slow. Here, there are no sharks, no seals, and no flapping wings above the surface. Sunlight filters down faintly, quietly reflecting off the silver scales of each fish. They swim more slowly, their bodies relaxed. No more sudden turns, no urgent reactions. Some drift freely with the current, gently moving their fins just to stay balanced. Others gather into small groups, close but calm. Salmon don't sleep like humans, but they do rest. Their heart rate's slow, muscles loosen. The instinct to stay alert remains, but no longer in a state of alarm. For a few hours, the sea is still. Only a soft current flows. Only silence remains, a rare thing in days full of chaos. And then, as the sun begins to lean westward, the salmon start to move again, gently, in formation. Today is a quiet day. The salmon swim near the surface. They're not packed tightly together as when hiding, but spread out into small groups, more free, more relaxed. Sometimes they circle in the water, not for any purpose, just practicing their swimming, testing directions, curving with the current as if it were a game. A few chase each other over short distances, then split off playfully. Some swim backward or spiral along with bubbles, as if exploring the gentle waves rising and falling. In the vastness of the ocean, moments of peace like this are rare. No lurking threats, no imminent danger, only the cool water and flickers of light dancing through the sea's surface. But it doesn't last. It begins with a small change. The seawater becomes too salty, too warm, too familiar, and the salmon's bodies begin to react. A few in the school grow restless. They no longer care about prey swimming nearby. They slow down, then suddenly turn, heading against the ocean current. The others notice. They don't need to ask why. Within a few hours, the entire school shifts direction, not in panic, but with purpose. This isn't strange behavior. It's a seasonal rhythm, a season not decided by weather, but by the body itself. Their fins darken, skin changes color. On some, red markings begin to appear along their sides, the first signs of spawning season. Inside, hormones shift rapidly. Reproductive organs grow. Their stomachs begin to shrink. From this point on, they will not eat again, not until the journey ends. Months ago, they roamed the open ocean, but now the sea is no longer home. It is the past. Ahead lies colder water, fresher water, farther away but certain. The salmon leave the ocean all at once, in a quiet morning, swimming straight north, toward the old river that has flowed, waiting for them for so long. The water narrows, salt and fresh blend together. The salmon have left the sea and entered the river mouth, where the water is no longer fully salty, but not yet sweet. And here the first threat appears: human nets. Beneath the surface, nylon lines are nearly invisible. The salmon don't see them until it's too late. Past the fishing zone, the current grows stronger, and eagles wait in the tall trees above. They don't strike at random. They choose shallow stretches of river with clear water where the salmon must swim near the surface. From high above, a single glide is enough. Talons plunge down, grabbing a tired fish. Within seconds, everything goes quiet again. The river's surface shows no trace, except a few drifting, glimmering scales. Higher still, the water turns colder. The salmon are deep in the mountains now. Here, rapids are a threat without a face. They can't be avoided. They can't be escaped. There is only one choice: to pass through. The weaker ones are swept away. The exhausted ones fall back again. Then try once more. Not out of bravery, but because there is no other way. At last, the strongest make it through, only to face the greatest threat of all: their own bodies. They are growing weaker. Every stroke of the fin drains what little strength remains. Having eaten nothing throughout the journey, their bodies begin to consume themselves. Skin peels, scales darken, vision fades. Yet they must keep swimming. The water grows colder, harsher. The flow from the mountains is no longer a river. It's a continuous chain of obstacles: rocks, whirlpools, roots blocking the way. And then the school begins to break apart. Not from panic, but because they no longer have the strength to stay together. Ahead, only a few dozen remain. They continue in silence. There is no waiting. From now on, each must find their own end. And then one late afternoon, the current suddenly slows. The water opens into a shallow stretch of stream, its bed covered in fine gravel. This is the spawning ground. The salmon have arrived. They swim in circles, searching for spots where the current is gentle and the riverbed is firm. The females choose a location by sensing the flow. Water strong enough to carry oxygen, but not so fast it would wash the eggs away. Once decided, they turn their bodies and begin beating their tails against the bottom. Each strike takes effort. Small stones lift and drift away, leaving behind a shallow depression in the gravel. They repeat this motion dozens of times, patiently, slowly. Behind them, several males wait, their vision fading, their lower jaws hooked, not for hunting now, but for competing. When the nest is ready, the female releases her eggs. No sound, just soft orange orbs drifting out, settling into the spaces between the stones. Immediately, the males swim close, carrying out their role. The entire act takes only seconds, but in those few seconds, a new generation is cast into the water. When the task is done, the female doesn't leave. She turns back and begins covering the nest with gravel, one final act of instinct. She doesn't know how many eggs will survive, doesn't know if any will return. She only knows this must be done, and done until her strength is gone. The female, having just finished covering her last nest, now lies on her side in the water, no longer swimming. The male drifts away from the spawning ground, circling unsteadily before settling near a bare patch of stone. He doesn't search for more females. He doesn't return to the sea. He lies still. Hours later, others begin to follow. Not all at once, not in the same place, but in the same way. No blood, no predator, just the body coming to a stop after completing its only purpose in life. They don't live to see the eggs hatch, don't live to teach their young. They don't need to. Their existence has already been passed on, deep beneath the gravel. That is the only part that remains. For several days, salmon carcasses lie scattered along the stream bed. The bodies of the dead become a vital source of nutrients for the entire ecosystem. Birds, bears, insects, even the trees lining the riverbanks, all receive what the salmon have left behind. Beneath the smooth gravel at the bottom of the stream, tiny orange eggs remain still for many weeks. No light, no sound. Yet inside, life quietly begins to grow. One day when the water is cold enough and the current steady enough, the first movements begin. One egg quivers slightly, then another. The softening shells begin to break open. The baby salmon appear, smaller than a finger, thin as a blade of grass, with a bright orange yolk sac still attached to their bellies. They don't swim, don't eat. They simply lie there, between the cracks in the stones, surviving their first days on the nutrients they still carry. There are no parents waiting, no one to teach them how to swim, how to hide, how to live. They just know. After a few days, the yolk sac disappears. Their bodies slim down, their eyes open wide. The young salmon leave the nest, swimming for the first time in cold water, fragile but certain. They know nothing of the ocean, nothing of the thousands of kilometers they will one day travel. They only know to follow the current downstream. Ahead lies a vast, dangerous world. But in that moment, life has been passed on, quietly in time, and just enough to begin again.